Welcome to Rise and Shine Daily Business Tech Boost with me, Charly Leetham. If you're a small business owner looking to simplify technology and get real, actionable advice from someone with 35 years of IT experience, you're in the right place. Every episode, I'll dive into tools and systems like email, CRM, marketing and tracking, and break them down into bite-sized tips you can use right away. Your time is valuable, so let's get straight to the point. It's time to work smarter, not harder. Sunshine, it's your daily dose of business tech inspiration with me, Charly Leetham. Topic number 342. We are going to be talking about ransomware attacks, and hopefully that word in itself leaves you a little cold and a little bit fearful, because it should do. Ransomware attacks are pretty horrible things, and they can be quite costly to a business. So first of all, if you're not sure what a ransomware attack is, a ransomware attack is something where someone puts some malicious code on your network, on your device. It encrypts all of your files and you can't access them, and then typically gives you a ransom demand to unencrypt the files. Normally it's a pay me $1 million euro into this Bitcoin account and I'll send you the key to unlock it. And until you get the key, you cannot unlock your files. You can't access your files. It stops you doing business pretty much. That's why it should leave you cold. Now that I've scared you, well, hopefully I haven't scared you, but hopefully I've given you a little bit of something to really think about. We need to talk about how we can mitigate against it, how we can protect against it. So I've got some notes here. I'm just going to quickly move them across to my screen because this is a big topic and I really want to be able to make sure I give you good information on it. So with everything, the thing with ransomware attacks is making sure that you've got good backups to go to and making sure that those backups are off of the network or off of the devices, so that if the ransomware does hit your computer, it doesn't flow down through to the backup device and get that as well. So having backups, having offsite backups and having backups on devices that are not physically connected to your computer is a really important thing, or at least taking a backup and putting it offsite on a physical device is a really, really important thing. The other things that you can do to mitigate against ransomware attacks: keeping your systems updated. I did a podcast on that the other day, a couple of episodes ago. We spoke about why it's important to keep your systems updated. By doing that, you're not going to, you are taking vulnerabilities down where ransomware can get in, where someone might be able to get in and put that bug on your computer or on your device. And make sure you're using supported software. Make sure it's not outdated or unsupported. So outdated software is software that it was supported up until a point, and then they've gone, I can't be bothered anymore. It's just there. If you want to use it, use it. The problem with that is that it becomes older. People have more chance to look at it and find all the little holes that they can get in to your device or your system through. So make sure you're using supported software, and make sure that that software is kept up to date with the absolute latest versions that you can. Make sure you're using robust security tools, of course, so antivirus, anti-malware software. Make sure your firewalls are on your computer, on your router. Make sure they're all on, and email filtering that blocks spam filtering, blocks phishing attempts, and checks for malicious attachments. I spoke about the email filtering in another episode. If you're using one of the big three, Zoho, Google, Microsoft, they've all got excellent spam filtering associated with them. Your antivirus and anti-malware software should also be scanning email that you're opening to check that any attachments or links that are in there are safe to use as well. Not that they're 100%. Remember that nothing you are going to do is going to be 100%. So you still have to be a little aware yourself. Well, quite aware yourself. We spoke about backups. You need to do regular backups of your data so that if something does go wrong, you've got something you can go back to. And you need to isolate those backups either up in the cloud I would recommend doing both in the cloud and on an offline device, a device that you can unhook and put in a safe space somewhere. And of course, make sure you do test restores on that backup occasionally to make sure that the backups are actually running and that they can be restored. Limit privileges. Now, this is something that we all fall into. It's like just easier to give everyone admin or everyone manager access on something, and then you don't have to worry about the fact that so and so doesn't have access to this system, and you've got to elevate them or go and change privileges so that they can access it. That it seems like it's easier. The problem is that when a ransomware attack comes through, or when an attack comes through, if someone has super admin or manager privileges, they have access to the whole system, and that whatever it is that's occurring can use those privileges to compromise the rest of the system. Whereas if you limit the privileges, you are limiting the opportunity for that to occur. So limiting your privileges, making sure that your employees, your teammates only have access to the files, the systems, the functions that they absolutely need is really important. I haven't spoke about it yet, but we will get to it in one of the episodes. I'm absolutely certain. Multi-factor authentication is important. So something you have and something you know. I will cover that in another episode because MFA, 2FA, two-factor authentication, multi-factor authentication, it's really important, and it really does go a long way to protecting you better and making sure your passwords are strong per yesterday's episode. Make sure you are educating your team members, your staff. Make sure they understand the dangers of phishing. Make sure they understand that what's called safe download practices. So only download software from trusted sources. If you're not sure about a link you've been sent to say download this document, maybe don't click on it. Maybe don't download the document. And make sure that you have clear incident reporting protocols in case something goes on. So in case there's been a suspected ransomware activity, in case someone thinks they've downloaded something that they shouldn't, make sure you've got incident reporting so that you can actually track it. Okay. Look, there's a whole heap of things here. I'm not going to get into all of them, but those are the things that you can do very, very easily, very quickly to limit the impact of ransomware, or limit the opportunity for ransomware on your network, on your device. Make sure they're preventative measures. That's the word I'm looking for. They're preventative measures that you can take to protect your network. There's a whole heap of other things, but it is that mix of wetware, us people, and hardware and software. Now, the question that many people ask me is, well, what do I do? If I get attacked, if I get hit with ransomware, what do I do? How do we handle it? And that's a really, really good question. So again, I've got some notes. I'm going to pull them across. There we go. The first thing you need to do when you are attacked is to isolate the affected system. Disconnect it from the network. Power it down. Disconnect it from the network. Turn its Wi-Fi off. Unplug the internet connection, the Ethernet connection, the LAN connection. That's the word I'm looking for. Make sure that it's not on any network, so it's stuck. The ransomware is on that device. You're already done on that device, but it's not going to spread through your network, which is one of the first things that ransomware tries to do, is it tries to find other devices and connects to it. For systems that may not yet be infected but are vulnerable, make sure you shut them down, power them down until you can be certain that you're safe. Power them down. If you leave them running and they have been hit, that you're not going to stop it. But if you power them down, you may have an opportunity on power up to stop that bug, Trojan, whatever it is, going through your system and encrypting it. So power everything down. You need to assess the scope of the attack. So identify affected systems, determine which devices, servers, files have been compromised, determine whether files are encrypted, and identify any ransom notes or instructions left by the attackers. So they may leave a note on the computer, they may send you an email. Just see what's coming up for it. See whether your backups are intact and unaffected by the attack. Now, if you have followed all the things that I've recommended, you will have a backup. It might be a couple of days old, but you will have a backup available to you that you can restore. But if you've got a backup on your computer, see whether that backup has been affected, because you may just be able to use that. The most important thing is do not pay the ransom. Don't try to contact the attackers. Paying the ransom does not guarantee that your data will be decrypted or that the attackers won't target you again. If you think of this much like home invasions, and it's a terrible thing to say, but once a house has been broken into once, it is highly likely that it will be broken into again, because the people who have broken in know the layout of the house, they know how to get in. They also know that the insurance has already been paid, so a lot of the stuff has been replaced. So they're just going to come and knock it over again and take all the new stuff. But they know how it's all laid out. They know all this. So much like that, don't pay your attackers. Don't pay the ransom. I know it might worry you. Don't contact them. Contact someone who a cybersecurity expert, and contact law enforcement so that they can provide, because they may be able to provide you guidance on whether to attempt any communication on how to move forward. Get someone involved. Make sure you are notifying the authorities of an attack, though. So report the attack to your law enforcement, national cybersecurity agencies, or organisations. If we were in the US, it would be the FBI. I guess in Australia, it's ASIO, maybe. I'd try the AFP anyway. And let them know that you've been attacked. They may need to get information. They may need to get some forensic data. They may, I don't know. Hopefully they will take it seriously, though, and actually act on it, because internationally this is an issue, and it could become an international, not incident, but an international operation to take down people who do this. Unfortunately, if sensitive or customer data is involved, you do need to notify your affected parties and comply with any of our data breach notification laws. And there are a couple in Australia, so you're going to have to make yourself aware of them. And unfortunately, you are going to have to inform your stakeholders that there's been an issue and that you're working on it. Then you can move into the cleanup. So whether or not you can is another matter, but you need to contain and eradicate the malware. So quarantine infected devices. Like I said, turn everything off. Infected devices, you need to disconnect from the network. Use antivirus and endpoint detection tools to isolate and contain ransomware on infected machines. You probably should engage a cybersecurity team to analyze the attack vectors and identify how the ransomware entered the system. Was it phishing? Was it a phishing email? Was it unsecured remote desktop, etc., etc., etc.? And then you need to remove the malware and try and get your data back. And that can take a little bit of time. And this is why ransomware attacks are so bad, because it takes a lot of time to do all this, and it takes a lot of energy to do all this. And now you're involving cybersecurity experts. So you can save yourself a lot of pain by doing good things up front. Once you've done all that, you can restore from your backups. Ensure you've got clean backups. Restore it in a controlled environment. Test it. Make sure it doesn't get reinfected. All of those things that go with that. Finally, I mean, there is a lot of little things you can be doing. The next thing I would probably recommend you do, however, is with the people who you've called in to help clean up, like the cybersecurity team that you've employed to help you clean up, sit down with them and do a post-mortem. Go through what happened, how did it happen? Why did it happen? And then have a look at how you can mitigate that in the future. What was the thing that was likely the cause of it? And what do you need to do within your own processes, practices, procedures, technology to mitigate that even further, and then provide that training back to your employees. That is a whole heap of stuff. There's a whole, like I said, there's a whole heap of things you can and should be doing to make sure that you are protected, that to minimize the impact of an attack on your system and to minimize the chance of an attack on your system. And then there's a whole heap of things that you need to do if the worst happens and you are attacked. Now, look, not everyone is attacked. I'd like to say very few people are attacked, and I think that's correct. But I'd be very, very remiss to say, well, it won't happen to you. It may happen to you, and you need to have these measures in place, and you need to have an understanding in place that you can recover from it. It might be costly, but it's not the end of the world. All right, that's a pretty tough one to do. Like I said, I don't like fear mongering. I don't like doing that, but these sorts of things can be pretty serious. Well, are pretty serious, and I'd like you guys to be as safe as you possibly can. Okay, what do you guys think? Leave some comments in the videos wherever you are listening to or watching them. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. I'd love to know if you've been attacked and how you handled it. I'd like to know if it's something that keeps you awake at night, or whether it's just something you go, whatever. It's not something that I've ever thought about, and I don't think I want to think about it. There's no right or wrong answers. I just love to understand where people are at with that stuff. You can always come and join me on my locals community, askcharlyleetham.locals.com. Join the conversation there. If you can, guys, if you could like the video, I'd really, really love that. That would really help for my content to go wider. Remember to subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell if you can. And tomorrow we're going to be talking more about doing software updates and things to think about there. I'll talk to you all tomorrow, guys. Bye. Hey there, thanks so much for tuning in to Rise and Shine, your daily business tech boost. I hope today's episode gave you some actionable insights that will make your business tech work smarter for you. If you found value, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other small business owners who could use a daily boost. For more tips, tools, and resources, visit www.askcharlyleetham.com. Until next time, keep rising, keep shining, and let's make tech simple together.